This tutorial will show you how to make a personalised gift for someone. Find or buy a pretty old frame for this. Take out the inside paper of the frame and use that to measure the size of your paper. You're now going to draw 3 ovals, each one larger than the last. The first smallest oval for the head of the elephant. Now touching it, a long, thin oval slightly higher up. This is the shoulders of the elephant. And leaving a gap, the largest oval for the rump of the elephant. Each one slightly higher than the other. You're now going to draw around the outline of your elephant, over the head, up for the shoulders, down and then over the rump and down the tail. Take your time and get the shape right. Down the back leg and the larger pads for the feet. Remember, the muscles of the legs go over the body and then down again for the front pad and up towards the shoulders. The stomach now, higher at the front, lower at the back. And then the back legs that are partially hidden from view. These are the trickiest. Get the shape right and take your time. Sometimes using a picture from the internet helps if you're not able to get to see a real elephant. Now the ears. Larger ears for an African elephant, smaller ears for an Indian elephant. Wiggle along the edges to show they're slightly wrinkly and thin. Now the bottom lips and jaw with the tusk and the long trunk that will curl down and behind the tusk. With a rubber, rub out any planning lines that you no longer need and tidy your elephant up. Redraw any shapes that need more precision and do 2 curved lines for the eye. Black fine liner pens of different sizes are the best for the next step. First, take one of your thicker fine liners, maybe a 0.6 or a 0.7 or a 0.8, and go around the outside lines of your elephant. As you go, check you're happy with the shapes. This is your last chance to change any little bits you need to. Now for the fun bit. Take your 0.4 or 0.5 fine liner and start to draw your patterns. This is very much down to your own creativity, but there are points on the elephant that are important, like the top of his head, his ears, along his back and his rump. So you can bring out these with certain fun patterns. The elephant's ears are important. You want them to stand out so he looks like an elephant. So keep the design and pattern that you do on the ears light coloured. You can fill in where the ears meet his body to give them a bit of depth, but keep the pattern on the ears light. What you will do later is make dark patterns behind and around the ears so that the ears pop out. Decorate around the head, extending the pattern that you've done at the top of his head, almost like he's wearing jewellery or decoration. Fill in darker background areas so that it makes the patterns stand out. The elephant's back and rump is important to bring out. You could draw lines that make it look like he has a decorated cloth or piece of fabric over his back. However you wish to fill this with pattern is up to you, but this shows you some ideas. Here, little threads to make it look like it's a piece of tapestry with a fringe, a bit like the edge of a carpet. Add really tiny detail. You have the 005 very fine pen. This is brilliant for adding tiny little details. And now for the pattern along the elephant's back. Curved lines with a thin pen make it look like it's fabric that's draping over his back. Then fill the fabric with smaller and smaller, more detailed patterns using the finer and finer pens. Here we have diamonds with a tiny flower pattern in the middle and a shape around the flower. Fill certain areas with darker shades so that you add in the contrast. This will make it more interesting and even more detailed looking. This bit shows you how to do a bubble pattern. Using a fine pen, maybe a 0.3 or 0.4, draw circles of different sizes, some right next to each other, most of them touching each other. When you get to the area just next to the ear, make sure there's some area without any bubbles, because you'll do these black so the ear stands out. Once your bubbles are drawn, colour all the little spaces around the bubbles in black so the bubbles really stand out. This bit shows you how to do a 3D looking pole or thick rope of fabric that's held by little sort of fabric loops. Just shows you how to get that 3D effect. This shows you how to do the curved lines that are very similar to the lines on the back of the elephant. Curving one way, then curving the other to make the tummy look 3D. Then just take your really fine pen and fill in little pattern details in the diamonds in between those curved lines. With the finest 005 pen, add in more details again inside the little diamonds. Try to draw the details so that where the diamonds go off the edge of the picture, you curve them slightly to make it look more 3D. Now we have the legs. It's important that your front two legs look similar and have similar patterns, and your back two legs have different patterns. Otherwise, it will be hard to tell at a quick glance which legs are the front legs in front and which legs are behind. It's also worth filling the base of the leg with a heavy, darker pattern. It makes the elephant look like he's not going to fall over. Here you can also see the patterns for the toenail. Behind this rope design, it'll be shaded black to really give the bottom of the feet the weight the elephant needs. Finally, the back leg. This shows you a sort of window-like pattern based on squares. Once you've got the shape that you like, you'll shade in the little squares, leaving a white rim around the outside of them. Notice the lines making the squares are curved still. That gives the idea of the back leg still being a 3D object and not flat. Makes it look more realistic. Finally, the toes, again bringing out sort of nail-like pattern using leaves. And there you have it, your patterned elephant. Finally, the tail. I hope this has inspired you to make your own personalised gifts.